Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for being here. Welcome back. And also, if this is your first time here, welcome. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm really excited. I'm talking to Stephanie Kraft, a new friend or maybe an old friend. We may have known each other in other lifetimes, who knows, but we just recently met. So welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you so much, Sharon.
Thanks for being here. We have a lot to talk about. Stephanie is I'm not going to read your bio. I'll help you. I'll allow you to talk about a little bit about what you do, but I do know that you are a energy healer. You're a healer. You have a practice as a healer, spiritual counselor, hypnotherapist, all that kind of stuff. And you also work with life between lives. And I love that, definitely. And you're an astrologist as well. So you
I
do
don't
that.
usually call myself an astrologer. That's very new, and I'm an amateur, so we'll leave it
Okay.
at that.
Okay. And you're an author. And if you could hold up your book, I didn't know that till just now that you've authored.
Yes, I have written one chapter in this book called Women Living in Alignment, and that's
Nice.
available on my website, which is stephaniekraft.com.
You also developed some products that I want to talk about too, and that sounds like a really cool story about that.
Yes, we can talk about that too.
And you're in alignment and very close to Jesus, Yeshua. So go ahead and if you would just share a little bit about how you came to a little bit about where how you came to be a practitioner and working with with people the way you do and offer your services in any direction you want to go.
Okay, thank you. So, I did have a massive spiritual awakening in the year 2000, and part of that awakening, so before that I was asleep, and then part of that awakening was I had a session with a psychic, which I didn't believe in at the time, but he did blow my whole universe open, and he said to me, "You're a teacher and a healer." And I had already been seeking very deeply into the healing arts, and I was looking into becoming a naturopathic doctor or an acupuncturist or even getting a PhD in psychoneuroimmunology. So I was very interested in the mind-body connection. So that's the short story of like how I was sort of awakened when it was really when he said it. It was like he was reading my soul and I knew it was true. And so and then I had one more session with him over the phone one time, and he said, like a year later, and he said, I didn't tell him I was planning on going to school or anything, and I didn't believe in angels yet. And he said, "Your angel has a message for you." And I thought, well, if he's telling me that, then angels might be real. And he said the angel is saying, don't get any more degrees because I already have a master's of science. And he said, what you end up doing, well, the angel said, what you end up doing is going to come from within you as if you're remembering it. And I understood that to mean like remembering it from my soul. And so I'm not going to go into the whole story of how I didn't end up going to school because it was like a dramatic time in my life. My father had died. I was very sick, fighting for my life. So I had to drop the whole school idea anyway. This was still in the year 2000, still in the it was just after, it was in the early part of 2001. So actually, but so then that year in 2001 I took my first Reiki training, and that was the beginning of my becoming a healer. So in 2002 I did the Reiki level 3 teacher, and I started doing sessions in 2002. So that's when my journey as an energy healer began. But I had if I mention anything and you want to go into stories deeper, we can go back. But I had a walk-in experience in 2006, and I did end up teaching Reiki for 14 years, but I stopped doing it because I had a healing gift coming through me for several years, starting in 2006, where I would be lying in my bed and waking up in the morning with this energy pulsing through my whole body for a few minutes every morning, and then I would wait till it was finished and before getting up, but also I would feel it throughout the day. If I was sitting in a chair like this, it would be spiraling through my whole body. And this was going on for about 3 years until 2009, when I decided, like, well, I didn't decide, I had a spiritual experience at night when I was sleeping, and I was not on earth. I was with beings of light who were instructing me in healing the human body, and they had a silhouette of the human body, and there were points of light, and they were teaching me how to heal. And when I woke up, I knew that I had this gift of a healing modality or technology, and that well, and that I had been sort of taught how to use it. Not that I remembered all of the details of that, but what I did was, instead of doing Reiki on my next client, I didn't turn Reiki on at all. I just said, let me feel, what does it feel like if I just put my hands on and let whatever is there flow through me? And it turned out that it felt like 1,000 times stronger than Reiki. So I never did Reiki again on clients, although I taught it for a few more years. So that's how my healing gift really came about, that my personalized healing gift that I do with clients. It's pretty profound. Actually, someone had it calibrated. Are you familiar with David Hawkins' consciousness scale of consciousness calibrations?
Sure.
Someone who, okay, so someone who's an expert at testing, not everybody can do, like, I wouldn't be able to test for that because you have to be very skilled. So someone, unbeknownst to me, had asked someone to test it. He's a very skilled tester of that kind of thing. And it came back, she asked, what is Stephanie Kraft's healing modality calibration? And it came back higher than unconditional love, which I didn't actually know anything could be higher than unconditional love. So that was surprising, but it does make sense in terms of just the power of the healing that comes through and
So
that
is it,
happens.
sorry to interrupt you. So is it basically just pure light then? Is that okay? Because it's like, what
That.
is higher than, because I understand from the law of one, there's light, love, light slash love, love slash light, and one is the conduit for the other kind of thing. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
well, it makes sense what you're saying, and I'm familiar with the law of one and read the books, but I can't say that I know what it is.
Gotcha.
But it's not coming from Stephanie, but I can
Right.
say that.
Right. You're
It's
the
definitely
conduit.
coming through me. I can feel it exactly. I'm the conduit. But and then the other part of my story of doing what I do now is I became a hypnotherapist in 2004. And I started doing Life Between Lives hypnotherapy in 2007.
Wow. Yeah. That's so interesting because 2000, 2001, 2002 was about the same around that time when I started waking up myself. And I'm hearing that a lot more and more. And I actually, it's so funny how we're on similar paths with it, with people in our, as we come together in our circles. Um, I think 2003 or beginning of 2004 was around the time I got my hypnotherapy credentials as well, when I went into hypnotism class or course. Yeah,
Oh my gosh,
training. I'm trying to say.
that's amazing.
Funny. I just love it because it just goes to show that we are all connected and that we're, part of this larger group of souls that are on similar paths.
Absolutely, yes.
I love that. Fascinating. So Life Between Lives, did you take the training from the Michael Newton training?
Yes, I was so lucky because Michael Newton had retired, but he came out of retirement to come to my training. So
Oh, nice.
he was part of the training team. Yeah, it was in Chicago in 2007, and got to meet him and got to communicate a lot with him we have a forum. We
Mhm.
had At that time he participated. He passed away a few years ago. So,
Yeah.
yes. So I did the Michael Newton training and do that kind of work. It's really interesting.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, it's amazing. So, do you mind sharing your experiences? I understand you've had some profound experiences with Jesus, Yeshua, and others, perhaps. Do you mind sharing some of them as well?
Okay, I will. Thank you for asking. I'll give, there's a little bit of a background
Sure.
leading up to my experience with Jesus experiences. Um, I told you that I was asleep, and that's true. I really was. And when I was 10, a very traumatic thing happened. A friend of mine who was also 10 was murdered. And when that happened, the way that it happened was pretty traumatic way of being murdered. So it was a big trauma for me. And so I remember, well, my mind couldn't figure out or understand how something like that could happen. And I remember the exact moment walking home from school where I said to myself, if that can happen, then there is no God. And I made a decision to become an atheist at 10 because I couldn't understand the world anymore. I couldn't understand anything about the world anymore. So that lasted until the year 2000. When in the year 2000, I always say it like this: God found me. So I wasn't seeking, but God found me. So I became a believer again. But I didn't believe in Jesus because I thought that was just those were mythology stories. And I actually thought I couldn't believe people believed in those stories either. I just
Yeah.
thought, how can people believe in that? So I wasn't there yet, but in 2004 or five, I had a session with this medical intuitive that I knew, and I had had several sessions with him, and he had 100% accuracy. He was even featured like on documentaries like on the BBC and the Discovery Channel. So he was very well known at a certain period of time for being very good, extremely good. So in this session, he said to me, Stephanie, Mother Mary is watching over you. And I remember I thought it was mythology. And when he said that, I thought to myself, well, if he's saying it and everything he says is really accurate, then Mother Mary must be real. And then a little bit, I don't know if it was in that moment or those days after, I thought, wait. If Mother Mary is real, then that means Jesus must be real too. So that was the beginning of awakening to the idea that Jesus was real. So then in about 2007 or 2008, this is when my first Jesus experience happened. And this is going to sound crazy,
Not to
but
me. Nothing sounds crazy to me anymore. Look.
so, I didn't tell anybody at the time. No, nobody knew this was happening. Jesus's spirit, his being, his essence, embodied within me for 2 weeks. Like he was living inside of me and I could see it in the mirror. So I'm getting, oh, my whole body's
Yes,
getting.
me too.
So what was happening during this time was that his words were playing in my mind the whole time. And I never read the Bible when and I hadn't believed in him. So this was profound. So his words were just pretty much nonstop. I mean, yeah, I could interact and be normal in the world, but you know how most of the time we're quiet. And during all of the quiet times, his words were just playing and in my head. And then I felt it, and I felt the radiance, and I felt his being inside of me. But every day I would go to the mirror just to check to see if I could still see it. And And I would go into the bathroom and look in the mirror to see, is the radiance still there? And I could see it like through my eyes, and just you couldn't see anything visually, but I could. It's almost like if I say the word see, it has to go with feel, because you're not really seeing it, but
Right.
I could see, feel the radiance, and the radiance through the eyes. And I would say, oh my gosh, it's still there. Even though I didn't have to go into the bathroom to check, because I could feel it, but I just wanted to see it. So that was for 2 full weeks at least. I mean, I didn't time it, but so that was my first one. And you can't have that experience and then doubt his realness.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I think he really wanted to show me that he was real.
Mhm.
And I feel like also to give me the vibration, to attune me to that, because I am a healer, and I felt like it was important for an attunement process.
That's beautiful. I love that. It's, and I believe that when he does come to us when we're ready, that when he merges with us, because I had something kind of similar, it was very profound for me, and I cried for about 2 weeks straight from the love that was just so profound that I didn't feel worthy of. And it was, yeah. Um, it was about 2 weeks straight now that I think about it. Yeah.
Oh my
But
goodness.
yeah, so that's why it's like giving me goosebumps when you're talking about it too, and feeling that energy again. Well, as soon as you connect to him, you feel it. But
Right.
and when I believe when he does merge and overlight us, I guess is the word I could think of. We become a part of him, right?
Well, I think we all really
Yeah, we
all,
are. Right. Yeah,
but we
that's a good point. We
don't
are.
know. Mhm.
He lights that up in us again.
Yes, he brings back the remembrance that we
Hmm.
completely forgot about.
Hmm.
I
Wow.
had a similar experience that you're talking about with the crying.
Hmm.
I'll share that if you don't
Oh,
mind.
no, please do.
This was just a quick one. I was driving in my car, and suddenly he showered me with and filled my body with so much light and so much love that it was so overwhelming that I just burst into tears. I think that, like you said, you cried for 2 weeks. I think that when this happens, it's uncontrollable. You can't not cry because it's so overwhelming and there's so much love. So that happened one time for me.
Yeah, and it's not a sad cry. It's just it's a release, and it's a recognition is the way I felt it. Ooh, and I'm starting to feel it already. A recognition of his love and who we are and how
Yeah,
he sees us.
it's being loved.
Hmm.
It's Do you want me to share the last one that I
Please,
remember?
please. I love hearing about Yeshua, Jesus. So anything you want to share is good.
Okay. Yeah. So this one was interesting. I had a dream with Prince, the singer, musician.
Shut up. Are you serious? Wow. Okay. Well, I'm connected to Prince too. So
Okay, so you
this
and
is
I are
crazy.
connected in a really big way, because
Yeah.
Prince is in my soul group, and I had some very profound dreams with him when he was
Wow.
alive.
Okay.
And I wasn't like a big fan. I mean, I'm, a general fan, like a regular fan, but not like a big
Same
one.
here. Yeah. I didn't done know that connection until after he passed, and I called him. I was a fan, but yeah, after he passed is where I called him to me for some reason. And uh, and I've had some really profound experiences with him in my out of body experiences and dreams. So I want to hear about yours. Go, 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 go.
Well, that's amazing. That's an amazing connection. I think we have a very big soul group, and a lot of us have had experiences with Prince. So
Wow.
this was when Prince was still alive, and he came, he was in my dream, and we were at CVS, which is like a drugstore. I don't know if it's national, but
Hmm.
It's a chain.
Yeah.
And I was helping him prepare for his concert that night, and we were buying props. And that, doesn't really make sense, but here we were in this store together, and then suddenly Prince hugged me. He said, "Can I give you a hug?" And so, Prince is very small man. I'm 5'8".
So am
So
I.
he
Funny. That's good. I'm 5'8" too. I've been 5'8" since I was 16. Okay, good. That's so
so
funny.
Prince is tiny. So if he hugged me, he'd be a really little person. And at first he was, but then he became this enormous man, and my head was like nestled in his shoulder, this huge man, and the feeling of love was so profound, and comfort, and like a father figure. And I woke up, it was a very profound feeling, and I woke up with the physical hug, feeling the physical hug. And it took me a while for it to dawn on me who that was. So I was getting ready in the morning, remembering my dream, thinking about it, driving to work, to my office to see clients. And as I was driving, it was dawning on me more, and it hit me suddenly that it was Jesus. Like, how it hits you when
Yeah.
Jesus connects. And I started crying. And because of the love and the feeling and the remembering, the recognition of him, that he was hugging me. And as I realized this, I looked at the license plate in front of me that said J and C, Jesus. And so of course it made me cry more and realize more, oh my God, it really was. And then I got to my office few minutes later, and I always had this routine habit of getting into my office, turning on the lights, reaching into my purse, and pulling out an essential oil. And I wasn't okay, we're back.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. All right.
So I was having this revelation in my mind, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, my dream, and it was Prince. But then it turned in, he morphed into Jesus. Jesus was hugging me. Oh my gosh, Prince. Oh, Jesus goes by the Prince of Peace. Prince of Peace. Oh my gosh. And that was when I was reaching into my purse to pull out my little bottle of essential oil. And as I was really realizing Prince of Peace, oh my gosh, I pulled it out, and I never think about it, but I looked at it, and the essential oil is called peace.
Oh, wow.
So it was all coming together in
Wow.
this profound way of revelation, that was Jesus hugging me. And it was just a very intense feeling.
Oh my gosh. That is amazing. Wow. You know, I've never put that together with Prince and Yeshua, but he definitely carries that energy. Or, I mean, there's no delineation between it, right? Between them. And but yeah, that's wow, what you just shared is really making my mind go, wait a minute. I mean, it's all the same. And I felt the same way about John Lennon. I was getting lots of connections with him after he passed, and he was carrying the same energy as Yeshua, as Jesus at the time.
Oh,
I'm like,
oh,
I know. And so I love those messages from him. That's amazing.
yeah. And I wasn't necessarily I wasn't definitively connecting Prince and Jesus, but it was a way, well, for them to both come through.
Right.
So I can't say I know if the connection there, but it's something beautiful
It's
anyway.
um it is beautiful. And I believe, and you know this, I'm sure that spirit uses whatever they can to bring through what we can understand, and what our conscious mind can, bring through into our conscious reality, right? And
Right.
so
And
that was a way of that happening.
Yeah, right. It was. And I wasn't going to mention these stories, but just to briefly say that I have had other dreams with Prince, and in those dreams, he was playing in a concert, he was playing music, and the music was so divinely, heavenly, beautiful, and full of so much love that it felt like the feelings that people describe during their NDE,
Mm.
of that feeling of love that was coming through his music. And it wasn't, it was otherworldly music. And so I have had a couple of those with Prince as well. So there was a definite divine energy coming through him, not only in the dream where he hugged me and turned into Jesus, but in the music ones too.
Nice, nice. I forgot till just now that during this conversation that I have Prince on digital recorder, his voice and him playing a guitar. You can hear it, his guitar, and uh, and he says a couple things on the digital recorder, and he sings. Actually, now that I think about it, it's been quite a few years since I got it, but he sings on my EVP. And I asked him to
Wow.
come through. Yeah, and there's three of us there, and it's like, whoa,
Oh my goodness. Incredible.
it is. Yeah, he's very strong on the other side.
He is. He actually I was working with a healer after he passed, and something very unusual happened. He embodied in her and came through her in that way. And for me, I can't even explain it. It's a weird thing to describe, but she became him and said, we communicated about it, and it was
I
unbelievable.
love
Yeah,
that.
very powerful.
Yes, and as you know, I'm sure that people who are powerful here are still powerful when we leave this earth body, right? Yeah, and probably more because there isn't as much to keep us, there isn't as many limitations like we have here, which not that he had a lot of limitations because he did what he was, he is huge for humanity. So I also heard that he was a Jehovah's Witness. So he did have that background with uh, Christ.
Right,
Yeah, and that
right.
belief.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that story. Wow, Prince.
I know, who knew?
Prince, Prince and Jesus, Prince and Jesus. I know, right? It's crazy. I'm still kind of stunned. So you had